and welcome to episode 2 of my single-player survival world. Today we're going to be building a massive tavern right where that selection is. It's gonna be pretty big. But we already have most of the resources collected. And I cannot wait to build it and see it for myself in survival for the very first time. For first time in survival. That's gonna be so good. But before we do all of that, I'm wearing iron armor and leather boots. I kind of need proper gear. Proper gear. And I have plenty of diamonds for that, so I think we're going to be spending, before we jump into a time lapse of the building, first, montage of me making good gear. Chopping zombies, doing all sorts of stuff. Making enchanting tools takes forever. Like, the tools I have after doing this little montage are some of the worst tools that one could have. They're not great. And it's like, I spent like 3 or 4 hours on these. So, the fact that it took, and like, that's so much time to spend on anything. But yeah, I don't know. I got the armor I got has been really good though. Between the boots, the pants, and the helmet, I think the gear is good enough for most purposes I could have. And now that you're seeing me here, well, I have a big, huge time lapse for you of the construction of a certain tavern that I think you will enjoy. Here it is, the massive tavern, like 50 blocks tall, and took me far too long, and I'm not doing a build this scale for a while because, it's big and cool, but not done. We still have a whole bunch of landscaping to do, some of which involves replacing all the sand with dirt, because, you know, you don't want to have it sit on a sandy foundation. This is also a very good way to collect sand as well. Like, I'm probably gonna have like 10 or 20 stacks of sand after this, which is frankly ridiculous, but it's important because we want to be able to have like a garden around the landscape. And you can't have a good garden on top of, sand. Now, we don't need to make it quite realistic, getting rid of all the sand. Because, that would be... it's a little... I'm getting rid of quite a lot of the sand. But we're not trying to get rid of all of it. This is a... Yeah, this requires a lot of dirt placing. Placing dirt, placing thousands of dirt. Hundreds, maybe. Probably hundreds. The sheer amount of dirt you need for any sort of terraforming project is frankly ridiculous. Though it does make sense considering the scale of the build. This landscape is meant to accentuate the build without necessarily adding a lot. It's not the focus, like say it is on that build. But actually, I could actually do a detailed foundation and have it actually work. The main thing I'm making sure is that the slope is neither too steep nor too shallow, though I do kind of want to preserve the natural, almost cliff. Sorry, I just had an idea. Making the cliff a little steeper instead of shallower. Because, my idea is I want, right there to be the port, because that's where it's really deep on the underwater. But over here, it's all shallow. So, we could have have it be, not a big cliff, but a slight cliff. Now, that's not going to be finished in this episode, considering I don't have that type of time. But what will get done is enough landscaping to make sure that this build doesn't look like it's floating. Making sure the build doesn't float. Making sure it looks at all good. It's a lot flatter, I think, is part of the weirdness here. I could easily pull the landscape towards me a little bit. And imagine, dirt has piled up here. Yes, it covers up some of the shading work I did, but, shading work isn't... I like my shading work. I don't think it's the most important that it's visible. Especially considering, I didn't design it with a specific landscape in mind. Which, has its detriments. But, I like this type of building where I don't start out with a landscape. And I just go, I want to build this. And then I can figure out how to make it look like it fits into the landscape. As I finish up the terraforming, you notice this area is very flat. It's because it's meant to be a little street going right underneath this little bridge. Yes, there's meant to be a mirrored build on the other side. Now, I don't have the... Now, I'm going to be finishing off that build next week. But as you saw in the time-lapse, it was cut off at the end. And it was and I looked at that and I went, that looks bad. And it looks bad in a way that doesn't suggest what might be, what could be, and what, will be. Because this is going to be a bustling city, filled with villagers and all that. Now, my favorite little way to add light to an area is to do a basic street lamp hanging off the edge of the building, like that. And this is the end of the episode. We've done so much today, including building this ridiculously massive tavern and doing a good bit of its landscaping. We've also built the start of the facade of the building across from it. And now we're all through this. I hope you like this video. And if you do, do a thumbs up. And if you really want to, and if you want to see more, please subscribe. I'll see you next one. Bye!